Okay, you don't need me to tell you about how entertaining Chris Pratt's portrayal of Peter Quill is, or how much of a central figure he's been for the Guardians of the Galaxy films thus far. And even with recent changes to better align his comic version with his movie self, there's enough deviation that I could spend this episode talking about Quill's backstory. But where's the fun in that, when I could be talking about Marvel Comics' other Star-Lord? May I present the master of ever-shifting mantles, the accumulator of aliases, Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, aka Sprite, aka the Red Queen, aka Star-Lord. As a long-standing and popular member of the X-Men, she has a whole lot of history to cover, but we're gonna stick with what's relevant to the Star-Lord stuff. So our story begins while she was babysitting the temporarily time-displaced younger versions of the original 5 X-Men. Because of course it does. Teenage Jean was abducted by an alien race called the Shi'ar, who wanted to put her on trial for the crimes her future self would later commit in a quasi-mind-controlled state. The Phoenix situation is just a dumpster fire of back-and-forth ping-pong. Ugh. And the team's efforts to save her led to them teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. After this, Kitty and Star-Lord started long-distance dating because her taste in specifically men appears to be limited to dorks named Peter. The relationship turned into a short-lived revolving door because Peter had to take over running the Spartax Empire for his dad. Oh yeah, also Quill's dad isn't Ego in the comics, it's Jason of Spartax. And politics can be hell on your dating life. Though they did end up getting engaged only to break it off later, this would end up becoming something of a modern recurrence for Kitty. But with the Star-Lord name vacant post-2015 Secret Wars, Kitty decided to take it for herself and join Rocket's reformed Guardians of the Galaxy. Fun fact, this is also when Venom and the Thing were part of the team, because Bendis was trying to turn Venom into a straight-up space hero, and the Fantastic Four were currently disbanded. Reed and Sue were off recreating the multiverse, and Johnny Storm was hanging out with the Inhumans and helping Medusa work out some marital issues. Kitty would stick with the team for a couple of years real time, but eventually return to Earth after Civil War II. And now for the question you've all been waiting for. Does any of this matter for the movies? Well, I'll caution you to prepare for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 spoilers in 3, 2, 1. It almost definitely does not matter. Peter Quill actually makes it all the way to the end of Guardians 3 alive and well. And although he ultimately leaves the team to go back to Earth and spend time with his grandfather, the very last post-credit scene teases that the legendary Star-Lord will return. It's not impossible that someone else could take the title for themselves, but it seems much more likely that we'll see Chris Pratt suiting back up at some point in the future. Next week, the last Guardians-related episode. At least for a while.